Welcome. In this session, we will review the template that is used in the video called Give Back My 1099 Miscellaneous Paycheck. In this session, we're just going to look at the template again, which we talked about in the previous video. So let's get started. This is the template that we feel you could use in order to remove yourself or lower your child support payments. Hello, my name is Chris, and on this channel, we teach you the techniques for which you can remove yourself from the child support program. In this episode, we'll look at the gig economy, where if you're a delivery person or a driver or work in an office, you're part of what we call the gig economy 2020. For example, you could be an independent worker doing deliveries. You could be a driver doing Uber or Lyft, or you could work in one of the big box offices. So let's take some examples. They're not scientific, they're just for example. If you receive over $6,000 for delivering food and beverages such as Doordash or any of those others menu services, you can make about $6,000 annually. For if you're a driver, you could become a driver for Uber or Lyft or Via or any one of those app programs, and you could make about $8,000 per year. If you work in, let's say, a big box store, a warehouse, you're more than likely a W-2 or an employee, even part-time, and you can make about $3,000. If you were to apply the child support program, this is what would happen. For those independent workers, their income, which is reported on a 1099, cannot be counted towards their child support. That's for delivery and the Uber. However, for the person who works for the warehouse, they have to complete what is called a W-2 form, and that comes with the garnishment for child support. So let's look at the President Executive Order, which is one of the strategies used for the 1099. The Office of Child Support asked Congress in which to include 1099 workers in the program, and it was rejected. It was rejected using the Executive Order January 19, 2017, and it was signed into law by the prior President, Barack Obama. There's rumors going around that it was signed by the current president, but that is not true. And we know that, and we talked about that in the other video. So this is one of the strategies. The second strategy you will use is called the Federal Consumer Credit Protection Act. That is the CCPA. As you may know from our videos, you're allowed a maximum of 25% garnish from what is called disposable income. Disposable income is what's left over after federal and state taxes. However, the provision in the child support program allows up to 60% deduction from that. So this is the second strategy. So let's look at a case called Hayward versus Drown. Now, in this case, what it says is if your rights are violated, you can sue using 42 USC 1983, either under state court or federal court. There's no distinction. Again, I've heard rumors that you should stay out of state court. You can stay out of, focus on that. That's not the issue. The question is, what is the violation? In this case, it's the 1099 violation. That is, if a support magistrate asks you for your 1099, you can say quietly that it's not included in the federal provision, and therefore it should not be included within the state provisions. Now, many states have decided to put that into their legislation, and in New York it did not pass. In California, I believe it did, as well as Texas. Well, this is the case that you will quote that a federal provision, when in place, cannot be usurped by a state legislation. So let's get into the template. Now, this is a template that we designed. It's similar to almost most templates across the country, and it has the basics in there, such as at the top, the court and the state that you're in and the county. That's important. On the left side, you have what is called affidavit in support of exclusion of the 1099 income. Then you have the parties, John Doe as a petitioner and Jane Doe as a petitioner. In the body of the petition, this is the text that we came up with that thought went right to the point, and it reads, the petitioner in this action and as such is fully familiar with the facts and circumstances contained herein. I submit this affidavit in support of its application to demand that the income figures as reported on the 1099 miscellaneous shall not be included in the child support calculations. And as a direct result, the issue in the above matter are resolved and closed. So we use some more of a language that makes sense and to the point. On part two, if you want to add additional information, the reason why we don't have a standard for part two, because that is specific to your county, specific to your case. This is where you can include the executive order, you can include the quote from the CCPA. And what you're basically saying that you're giving evidence or corroborate your reason for the demand. There is something else to point out. I put the man in the petitioner position. With most cases, the man is in the respondent situation, but in this case, you're in the petitioner situation. And now I suggest that you put yourself in the petitioner situation when you do this action. Next, after you've included your information and everything about your case, you end the segment with, wherefore petitioner asks that all issues before this tribunal regarding the 1099 miscellaneous are fully resolved and closed. Then you would go ahead and then you put your signature with. Once you've completed this document, you must have it notarized before serving it to the other party, as well as have it registered within the clerk's office. As again, all court documents or all tribunal documents must be notarized. So here we have the call to action section. So in addition to your affidavit, the affidavit and your petition, you want to also have a copy of the Department of Justice letter and the COL form, which is denial of rights form. I would recommend that that would accompany your affidavit as well. In addition, you would want to request documents that are sent to your employers from the Title 4D agency. That is anything relating to the calculation of the 1099 to prove that they are including it within your payment where they should not. Then finally, the best thing about this particular strategy is that you could do this right now. If for any reason you discover that they're including or imputing your 1099, you can start right now. You don't have to wait for your next court date. So if you have any questions or follow-up questions, please feel to reach out to us, as well as we ask that if you could provide us with a small donation to help us continue our research. And we do research this topic. For instance, this particular 1099 topic, we researched it, found the case laws that associated with it so that you can prepare your paperwork. And again, we gave that to you as part of the series. So this brings us to the close of this template session. There are several videos on the screen. We're asking if you'd review them. That would help to understand the goal of this 1099 template. Thanks. Have a great day.